Welcome back to the Shred the Spread podcast. I'm your host, Jared. This is our Thursday night football best bets episode. We also will do a very brief recap and a brief look ahead. We've got a lot to get into. Unfortunately, I just got done in the torture chamber. The Philadelphia Phillies did not show up to the playoffs in the MLB. So it's time to get back into gear for football. But before we do that, let me bring on my co host, my right hand man, my dude. Now, what's going on, man?
Yeah, what's going on, my guy? Don't feel bad. You can go ahead and sit in my little therapist chair in the corner right over here, man. We can just talk, take some notes, and kind of get that
Uh,
out. Because trust me, I know how it feels. The Baltimore Orioles did it again. We're a young team anyway. You guys had a lot of expectations, but that's neither here or there, man. It's time to dive into this football slate. It's time to go ahead, dive in, see what we got for our props for Thursday night, man. We what we can look into for them, what we can look forward to in the week.
yeah, we're already at week 6, but before we do that, let me just quickly go over our week 5 picks. We had the Jaguars minus 2.5. That cashed. It got a little dicey at the end, but it cashed. The Texans, a pick 'em. Doug McDermott, thank you for saving the Texans because we did not show up in the fourth quarter and you had some bonehead decisions. Ultimately, led the Texans to kick the game winning field goal. The Bengals, I don't know what to say. Evan McPherson, you're dead to us. You're dead to us. That really hurts for our futures, for everything. Joe Burrow, like I said, if you play the Bengals, play Burrow MVP, you still got value. However, the Bengals futures, we've got to kick into high gear here to going forward. But the Joe Burrow MVP ticket does look a little bit sweeter. We just need them to find their gear. The Steelers, man, that one hurt. That one hurt. Probably just as bad as the Bengals. Dak Prescott drives the entire field in the fourth quarter. Fourth and goal, throws to his third string receiver, Tolbert, after he just came out of the game injured. Makes a hell of a catch. Dak probably threw in the only window he had to make that reception. And the Saints, Dino, unfortunately, all we can say is
Yeah,
damn. The
yeah,
Saints are
yeah.
back to being the Saints. We gave them too much credit. We let them bamboozle us, so that is our fault.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're not going to let that do is lead us in the wrong direction for Thursday night football. Dino, we have a San Francisco Seattle Seahawks matchup. We have the San Francisco traveling to Seattle, minus 3.5 road favorites. Talk to me a little bit about this game.
Hey man, well we got a game against two teams that really should have won this past previous week. The Seahawks definitely underachieved against the Giants. Who I'm gonna give my credit to the Giants. Maybe I barred on them a little too much, but I have said before that this team is a pretty decent good team. They just don't have the quarterback to do so. The quarterback played well, and you saw what happened against the Seahawks. They won the game. Now going for the 49ers. 49ers, I am completely disappointed in you. Just as I was disappointed in the Steelers this past week when you guys let them go downfield, the fact that you guys blew a 13-point lead in the fourth quarter scares the absolute hell out of me. It doesn't look like a team right now that's fully functioning, getting right. But once again, this only proves a San Francisco under. I told you guys to take it as of right now. That it's early. We'll see how this goes. I would honestly lean this game. I would lean more towards the 49ers. I'm not me personally. I'm not really too hip on it or too hype on it, only concerning the fact that it can't seem to close games. This is the second straight game they continue to close. But this is a division game. I don't believe in the hype in the Seahawks early in the season anyway. I felt like they were a very fragile 3-0 team at some point. They lost back-to-back games. And they're gonna run into a team with some vengeance now. Like I said, the Kyle Shanahan has to get this thing rolling. If they want any chance of winning this division, they have to beat the Seahawks. So definitely give me 49ers if I was going to pick a side here. For any props that I honestly like, I like Brock Purdy. Continue to attack that secondary, man. 225 to 250. Continue to attack that secondary that's been weak all season long. Target the receivers for the 49ers. Ayuk. I like Ayuk's yards. I don't know. I do Ayuk 50 as like a parlay piece. I also throw in Jawan Jennings, 2 to 3 receptions as a parlay piece as well. Probably most likely 3. I think right now on DraftKings 2.5 is at plus 100, so that's great value. I will kind of pair those two together. And as far as the Seahawks, I don't really feel comfortable as of right now what I would pick as a prop. I'm kind of laying off. But what I will say is back to my 2 field goal prop. I'm gonna add 2 field goals to the 49ers as well. I feel like they can get down the field. Can get down the field, and sometimes those drives stall. They've been proven to kick 2 field goals in the back-to-back games. I definitely taking 49ers 2 field goals as well as a prop to play.
Yeah. Cardinals, little sneaker pick that I took for the division. It has
Yes.
legs. It definitely has legs. They're looking
Mm-hmm.
decent. But I agree with you, dude. The Niners haven't been able to close these games out, and I think that's why one of my favorite picks from this game is actually Niners first half -1.5. I found this,
Ooh.
and what really made me look at that was actually the fact that the Niners collapsed in both second halves the last few weeks. And I really think there is an emphasis on the preparation this week. I think Kyle Shanahan realizes that he has to win this game to not necessarily turn the season around, but to get the mojo back in the locker room. Like, it looks very stale. So what I will say is I expect the Niners to be guns blazing. I think Kyle Shanahan is one of the best coaches in the scripted plays, the first 10 plays for the first drive. I really think it's going to go out there. I think the Niners score on their first possession, and I think they do so with Brandon Ayuk. I like him for anytime touchdown. I think there's just too much value now that all the pieces are back. But I agree with Dynell. Jawan Jennings over 2.5 receptions is ridiculous value. I don't care that Debo, Ayuk, Kittle are all out there. There's one guy that's still not there to eat up receptions, and that's Christian McCaffrey. And as long as he's not there and Mason is just strictly a workhorse down the middle running back, you have to take the value at the receivers. Brandon Ayuk for plus 165 for a touchdown is laughable. Jawan Jennings, anything plus money for 3 receptions is laughable. There's one thing that Brock Purdy can do as a quarterback in this league, and that's develop chemistry and comfort. And when you throw to the same guys, a la Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, okay? When you develop these chemistry patterns, they are subconscious. Brock Purdy under pressure seems to find Jawan Jennings. He seems to be the first guy he looks down the field. And what does this mean for Jawan Jennings with all these big pieces coming back? He gets weaker matchups. So only thing it does is open opportunities up for Jawan Jennings. He may cash this in the first half, I know. Like that to me just does not make any sense. On the other hand, we've got the Seahawks. I am not too fond of these because I do think this game may go under. So I'm looking at under receiving yards for Tyler Lockett. 45.5. It seems low, but it's right. This Seahawks team is going to want to control the game on the ground. Kenny Walker is going to run the ball a lot. Tyler Lockett is not going to have an explosive play this game. I don't see them going to Tyler Lockett. If anybody, they're going to go to DK Metcalf. He seems to be the guy with the explosive plays on this offense. And the one guy that's sneaky for value, plus 220 anytime touchdown, Jackson Smith-Njigba. There is one guy, if you're plus 200 or more, and you're going to be in the red zone package 75% of the time, on the field for almost all the snaps, and lining up in the slot, which is one of the weakest spots in this Niners secondary, it's Jackson Smith-Njigba is way too much value. So he is one guy that I do like for a touchdown. Anything over plus 200 on a guy who's going to play that many snaps is just ridiculous. So I agree with Dino on Jawan Jennings. I agree with Dino on Brandon Ayuk. And I like the Smith and Jigba prop. I also like Dynell's same motive as the Niners probably win this game. And I think the Niners cover in the first half. I'm more so worried about them closing out in the second half. So I will say a way to target this game is if the Niners go up big early, live bet the Seahawks. If you can get
Mm-hmm.
7.5 on the Seahawks, I'd play that and go for a middle. So I like the Niners first half -1.5, and if you can live bet the Seattle plus 7.5 anytime during the live game, I think that's the way I'm looking at it.
No doubt, and like I said, like I said, if you guys want to also, I mean, tap in too. Like you said, you brought up, I think Ayuk touchdown, or you brought up Smith and Jigba. I know that's plus 205. Also, if you guys feel like Juwan Jennings can have a good game like we do, shit, play him touchdown. Why not? It's been the comfortable field. The man has I don't know how many touchdown receptions throughout the first 4 weeks with Brock Purdy targeting him the whole entire season. So I think that's at plus 235 right now with Debo coming back, which is extreme value if you guys want to dabble in Juwan Jennings.
Yeah, I will say this is just basically a Hail Mary play. I know, but
Yes, sir.
maybe I can interest you in this. It's
Uh huh.
11-1 plus 1100.
Mm-hmm.
Juwan Jennings over half a rushing yard. It sounds
Oh
crazy,
yeah.
but What does Kyle Shanahan do with players that he likes but needs to
Mm-hmm.
get them more touches? We know Debo's fighting an injury, okay? We know Debo's lining up in the backfield as their basically second running back because Juszczyk is being, he's running routes a lot more than he has in his career. What is it that Jawan Jennings runs one jet sweep for 3 yards, 5 yards, whatever it may be, and he cashed an 11-1 ticket? I just think that's too much value on a guy where he's had such a large target share over the last few weeks that he's just not going to diminish. They're going to find a way to get him in this offense. And again, because I said Debo, Kittle, and Ayuk are out there, they're going to get most of the heavy coverage. Jawan Jennings is going to be the X factor. So I think there's value on Jennings all over the board. So you just kind of have to pick your poison with him because there is a chance that he could just go away this game. I just don't see that happening. He could cash all these bets. Receptions, touchdown, and over rushing yards in the first half. I think the Niners come out guns blazing, but I think my favorite play for the game is Niners minus 1.5 for the first half. I think they come out and we'll see what they do. Dynel,
Yes,
let's
sir.
look ahead to the Sunday slate.
Mm-hmm. Let's look into it.
Talk to me about one game that has caught your eye early.
One game that has caught my eye kind of early, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Call me crazy, but the Commanders. Right? We've been hot right now. We've been rolling. Right now, the line's at +6.5 right now, which I think is extremely high, knowing the fact that the Baltimore Ravens have had a lot of hiccups throughout games. I mean, they were down the whole game last game, and I believe in a couple previous games before they had to make some comebacks there. I feel like right now, the way the Commanders are playing, yes, that defense has been suspect, but that offense can definitely get right. The Ravens defense has been exposed each and every week, especially by Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. What a special game they had. They still lost the game, but they put up 38 points, and it was nowhere near the offense's fault that they lost. So yeah, I feel like that's extremely high. But another game that I'm also looking at, if you give me a second here to kind of point it out, it's definitely right now. Hold on, I gotta find it. It is the Detroit Lions against the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys are riding high right now. I think the line is at 3 even. If it gets down to, if it's at 2, and if you guys can shop it and find it at 2.5, take the Lions. I mean, it's Detroit. They're playing in the. I mean, it's Jared Goff. He's on the road, yes, but he's playing in a dome after all. I feel like the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, what do you know? They came back. They had a good game. Dak Prescott won them that game against Pittsburgh. It's the best defense in the league, but they still didn't look too hot. They still didn't look too hot. We already knew the Steelers' offense was kind of suspect. Yes, they've been playing well, and I've given Justin Fields a lot of credit and Arthur Smith a lot of credit, but that defense has been struggling. I mean, that basically that offense has been struggling throughout the year. And to be honest with you, without Micah Parsons and Demarcus Lawrence, the fact that they only put up 13 points, I mean 20 points, 13 points, 17 points at that time. Yeah, 17 points. They put up 17 points at that time, and I mean, come on, man. You gotta put up more points than that. And I feel like Detroit is definitely long for that. They're long for a good game. They bounced back hot against the Seattle Seahawks a couple weeks ago. I feel like this might be an explosion for the Detroit Lions here, and I feel like we're getting it at a good value because the Dallas Cowboys played a pretty decent come from behind win game against the Steelers.
You, my friend, have hit it nail on the head with two
Mm-hmm.
plays that I've looked at early. Um, I like the Commanders strictly because we've seen what the Ravens' passing defense has looked over the last few weeks.
Yes.
And what has
Yes.
Jaden Daniels been able to do? Find these deep connections. What did Joe Burrow just
Mm-hmm.
do? Almost threw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns against this Ravens. There, for some reason, their pass defense has been very subpar. I don't expect that to stop. So I also was looking at the Commanders. I also really like the Lions, especially three or better. Three or
Mm-hmm.
better, love the Lions. But one of the plays I really was looking at, Dino, was actually the Colts +2.5 against Tennessee.
Yep.
Um,
That's you. That's a play. That's a play. That's
I
your
just,
play.
I just, we know how these games are. We know how these games
Mm-hmm.
go. We like the Colts, whether it's Anthony Richardson or Joe Flacco. I just think the Colts they're starting to find their footing, and you kind of saw it last week where they almost came back. But the biggest thing with the Colts is they've got a better offense than the Tennessee Titans do, and it's just does the defense show up? I think the Colts win this game. The other game that I was looking at was actually the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I just 3 or better. I mean, there's got 3 at a couple books. If you can get 3 or better, oh, I love the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think this is where the New Orleans Saints ship falls apart. Um, I think they turn back into a pumpkin as we expect them to. We didn't expect the Saints to be anything impressive this year. They're 2-3 right now. I think this is where the wheels fall off. So I'm buying the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and selling the Saints. Well, that's been our recap, our Thursday Night Football best bets, and our brief look ahead. Dynell and I will be back. We will record it Friday night. You will get it sometime Saturday of our Week 6 best bets, 5 picks against the spread, as we do each and every week. But before we get out of here, Dino, any last words for the listeners?
Same message as every episode, Knuckleheads. Make sure you guys tune in to us at Shut the Spread _ on X. And then also follow me on X at Dyneezy. That's DYNEEZY. As we lock in and as we attack this week 6 slate, can't believe we're already a third into the season. Good God, and. I mean, let's be honest. Like you said, we've been hot. We were in a hot roll for a little bit. We only took a little bump. We hit a little speed bump this past week. Got a couple of unfortunate bounces, but best believe one thing we will do is we'll bounce back.
Yeah, the rough weeks have been 2-3, and that's all we can ask. We were minutes, actually not even minutes. We were seconds away from being 4-1. We were seconds away from being 4-1. So sometimes it's just how it goes. That's the NFL. That's why we love it so much. Thanks again for tuning in to the Shred the Spread podcast. We'll be back with our next episode, hopefully in video format. We apologize for the audio. It just kind of may be like that for Thursday night. I'm not going to put that in stone right now, but we'll be back with our best bets episode in person. You'll see our beautiful faces. Until next time, we'll see you.
Peace.